This is 7 News.
Good evening. 8 people, including firefighters and a policeman, have been injured in a truck explosion near Charleville in Western Queensland.
The vehicle crashed and erupted into flames, damaging 2 fire trucks and destroying a bridge.
The site of an explosion 30 kilometres south of Charleville. This is all that's left of the B-double truck, which was carrying 52 tonnes of ammonium nitrate. When it rolled, it burst into flames. The eruption destroyed 1 fire truck and badly damaged another. Nearby trees were blown out of the ground. The bridge the truck was on disintegrated in the blast and pylons were ripped out from under a railway line. 8 people were injured.
They may have been more severely injured if they were closer to the incident.
Paramedic John Gilbert was one of the first on the scene.
We just actually saw the 2 fireballs.
The truck driver received burns to about 35% of his body, including his chest and stomach. 4 firefighters received non-life-threatening injuries. The force of the blast threw Jake Sullivan back 30 metres. He and Peter Hackwood were taken to hospital in Toowoomba.
They are suffering from injuries from cuts, abrasion, some of those blast injuries and minor concussion as well. 2 other firefighters were treated in Charleville.
They risked their lives out there last night and they're lucky to be here.
A policeman and 2 truck drivers who stopped to help were also hurt. Windows shook in the town about 20 minutes after the blast from a magnitude 2 earthquake. But Geoscience Australia says that was just a coincidence and the result of a naturally occurring event.
The house was shaking. The animals were freaking. It sounded like someone was on the roof too.
Backup firefighters have now arrived in Charleville to help.
Hits you at the heart pretty well, and your natural instinct is that you just want to come out and help out to the best that you can. And
engineers are assessing damage caused to the Mitchell Highway, which joins Charleville and Cunnamulla.
We'll have to try to get a bypass road around it, and then we'll have to... It'll have to all be planned again.
A long wait for drivers who rely on the roadway.
8 people, including firemen and police, have been seriously injured after a truck carrying tonnes of chemicals rolled and exploded on a Western Queensland highway.
Rescue vehicles and 2 bridges were blown apart. The devastation left the earth scorched.
The explosion destroyed everything in a 50-metre radius. 2 concrete bridges, metal railings, signs, trees, gone in a flash.
It's a wonder someone wasn't wiped out when you see the actual damage of what has actually happened out there. And it will take years to get back together.
A truck driver was on his way from Gladstone to South Australia with more than 50 tonnes of ammonium nitrate on board. At around 10 last night, just south of Charleville, the rig rolled on an isolated section of the Mitchell Highway. The 55-year-old was injured and bleeding as he tried to get out of the wreck. 2 truckies driving past stopped to help. They were joined by 4 volunteer firefighters and a police officer. Despite the danger, they didn't hesitate.
They moved him away and the other people away as soon as they possibly could. Very professional actions that they have taken.
But as they were dragging the injured driver away, they realised the rig was on fire. On its own, the fertiliser is stable, but mixed with spilt diesel and the heat from the fire, it became a bomb. There was no time to shelter. Everything in the blast zone damaged or destroyed.
The reality from such a blast, there was concussion, there was shrapnel, there was also cuts and abrasions to them.
The semi was ripped apart by 2 distinct blasts. In Charleville, more than 30 kilometres away, it rattled homes and buildings. A police officer on his way a kilometre from the scene had his windscreen blown apart.
Oh, definitely. I mean, these are our heroes and they put their life at risk by going out to these things, but they do it because they love doing it. And you can't thank them enough.
The men who responded to help needing rescuing themselves.
Investigators have been granted access to the site of a massive truck explosion that injured 8 people in southwest Queensland. Until late today, the site was deemed too unsafe for investigators to enter, with concerns there were still large amounts of unstable explosive. Emergency crews have described the scene as catastrophic and say it's a miracle anyone survived. 5 people are still in hospital, including the truck driver, who's in a critical condition with head injuries and burns. Elise Edwards reports from Wyandra.
2 days after the explosion and the impact is still packing a punch. The landscape is charred, wreckage is strewn over hundreds of metres and little remains of the truck itself.
There is a large hole in the ground. It could be described as it looks like a bomb has gone off, literally.
This is the first in 26 years of firefighting. It's not often we come across these major events, and our crews are extremely lucky.
The semi-trailer was carrying more than 50 tonnes of ammonium nitrate when it rolled off a bridge at Wyandra. Rescue crews were trying to extract the driver from the vehicle, and that's when they found out that there was ammonium nitrate inside. From there, they made a mad dash back up towards the fire truck, and that's when the explosions occurred. Now, inspectors tell us that it's that slight 1.5 metre rise between where the truck rolled under the bridge to where the crews were standing that ultimately saved their lives. The area was deemed too volatile to enter until late this afternoon.
You have a look at the road behind you, there's no road behind you. So that's going to take weeks, if not months, to clean up.
The 33-year-old truck driver is in an induced coma at the Royal Brisbane Hospital. His pregnant wife is by his side. 2 firefighters are in the Toowoomba Hospital with internal bruising and serious damage to their eardrums, but thankful to be alive. 2 people who stopped to help are in a serious condition, while 3 other emergency service workers have been discharged home.
Yeah, I've got the greatest admiration for all those on scene.
Locals are concerned by what's happened and are demanding answers.
We believe that a house 10 k's from the crash zone, the windows broke from the explosion, so if it was in town it would have done massive amounts of damage.
Obviously we will be talking to the police about if anything was done wrong.
The road will remain closed indefinitely until the area is deemed safe. The Department of Main Roads is still working on an interim detour.
It's pretty sad. It'll take a toll on a few people around town, so all we can do is hope.
The 5-metre crater in the landscape will eventually be repaired. The emotional scars may take longer to get over.